Yoda talks funny. Let's take a look at why.
I'm looking for someone.
Looking? Found someone you have, I would say.
Yoda puts words in what we would generally say is the wrong order. I mean, he's 900 years old, he can say whatever he wants. And while he's not entirely consistent, there's more rhyme and reason than you might think.
I am wondering, why are you here?
In the first clip, Yoda says, "Found someone you have." This word order is unusual. In the second clip, "I am wondering" is grammatically correct. What we have are two different ways of ordering words in a sentence. In the first order, Yoda puts what we usually put after the verb before the verb and subject. In the second, our order is as we'd expect in English: subject, verb, and in this case a gerund. The difference in between these is that in one, the sentence is part of a gerund construction, and in the other, we have a verb leading to the infinitive of another verb. So he doesn't just shuffle around words at random, he shuffles specific kinds of phrases where the verb is have or will, and he takes the subject and the verb and throws them at the end of the phrase. So with
Take it to him, I will.
you've got the subject and the auxiliary verb moved all the way after this infinitive phrase.
Hey. Fine, or I will help you not.
To understand why Yoda is written this way, you have to look at the other way that he scrambles his words.
Adventure. Excitement. A Jedi craves not these things.
Here we have a construction that seems weird at first until you consider that this isn't a totally unorthodox way to say a Jedi does not crave these things. In modern English, we use a dummy auxiliary to form negatives in sentences where the verb, in this case craves, is not any one of these verbs. It's needlessly complicated, and it's a lot more complicated than how negation was done in Middle English, where they would just slap a not after the verb. So turning a Jedi craves negative gives a Jedi craves not. Maybe it's not a total coincidence that Yoda, a 900-year-old character, uses some syntax from Middle English. And an English-speaking audience can vaguely recognize this. We interpret it as mysterious or old, which is probably what they were going for.
To sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub.
Usually, when English-speaking writers want to emphasize that a character is from hundreds of years ago, they'll lean into phrases like "thou hast" and "erstwhile" and stuff like that. We associate these words with Middle English, Shakespeare. That's what comes to mind, right? But they couldn't have Yoda reminding the audience of Shakespeare and England and real-life Earth, so instead they opted for a much more subtle speech pattern that subconsciously tells the audience that Yoda is speaking some sort of old dialect of what everybody else is speaking. Is this reading too much into the behaviour of a green alien puppet from a 1980s space opera? Probably. None of the people that might have made these decisions seem to have gone on record talking about it, so our best guess is that this speech pattern was more of a result of, these creative types throwing things at a wall and ending up with something that sounded mysterious and old, which is Yoda.
I'm not afraid.
You will be. You will be.
Yoda's speech pattern reflects his age, and it gives him authority, and not only is he super old, he can do really cool flips. Before I leave you, I'm going to point out one more cool thing about Yoda now that we understand what his grammatical errors are supposed to give the audience. Here's a Reddit thread, professional I know, where users compiled what Yoda speaks like in different languages. For example, French, which is similar to English in its word order and has French Yoda speaking much like English Yoda, and Romanian Yoda's grammar reflects archaic Romanian, and Korean Yoda, interestingly, speaks normally. I can't verify all of these, they're just anecdotal from people on Reddit, but I find it cool when translators take the time to reflect subtle details in the language in their translations.
Très bien, je vais essayer.
Non, n'essaie pas. Fais-le. Ou ne le fais pas. Mais il n'y a pas d'essai.